Hey guys. Welcome to Tuesday training. Tactical Tuesday this week is truly tactical. It is hands-on training as to what we need to do as investors to save time, to get systemized, to prioritize better. And we've got an amazing guest that has, she's been in our Ignited program for the last couple of years, and her systems that she has in place, to me, it's just mind-blowing a lot of the time in how analytical she can be in her business. And guys, that's what we want to be, right? We want to be analytical. We're investors. This isn't a hobby. This is a business. And Carlene Sue is with us to show us some of that stuff. So I'll just jump into the comments here. Oh, awesome. Hey guys. Everyone saying hi as you come on. Awesome. Thanks so much. So we've got, Winnipeg, Fort McMurray. There we go. I didn't know that, Anna. I've seen you around, but I didn't realize you're from way up there. Victoria, Ottawa. Yeah. So welcome, guys. And we are, just quickly before I bring Carlene on, we have dates for the first time ever this far ahead. For a boot camp, we've actually committed to doing one like 6 weeks ahead. So boot camp is July 9th and 10th. So it's a Friday evening for an hour and a half, then all day Saturday with a wrap up on Monday night. So it's really a 3-day boot camp spread over the weekend. If you're looking to raise capital, or you're looking to, learn how to invest and you're new to this game, join us. It's just $27 right now. So you can register. You'll see the girls that will throw it in the chat, and put all the information there. So in the meantime, thumbs up, heart showers, or heck yes in the chat. Let me know, are you guys finding it hard to keep up with everything that we need to be doing as investors? Is time an issue? Is productivity an issue? Is focus an issue? What's the issue that you have going on right now? Is property management and handling tenants, and they text you, they email you, they call you, they send you requests for stuff randomly. You have to keep track of paint colors and which appliances are in which unit, and which condo boards require what. Are you having a hard time figuring out or keeping any of this straight? I'm just going to turn off this one banner. There we go. So let me know, guys, in the comments. There we go. Perfect. So if you're having a hard time, and I know it's lagging right now, I can see it's kind of stuck. If you're having a hard time, tonight's for you. So let's bring on Carlene. Carlene Sue, she is from Calgary. She is a mom, first and foremost. They have a very, busy, active life, social life. She left her corporate job and a well-paying job in oil and gas to invest full-time. And she has absolutely made it a business, not a hobby, not something that goes, fly by the seat of her pants, but an actual business. So welcome, Carlene. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So now
here.
Tell me a little bit about, for you as a busy mom and a mom of 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And, running a business, an investor, all that. Why do you need to be so systemized? Because you certainly are. So what is it for you that makes that so important?
I think just to be able to fit everything in, right? Like, I'm pretty clear about what my priorities are. Like you said, my family is number one, and I do really, make an effort to make sure I'm present with them and set aside certain times. But that doesn't mean I have to be with them all the time. But then what that means is I want to be focused and on my game when I'm dealing with my business, when I'm talking to, fellow investors or the investors that I work with. So it really, I think then I just want to maximize the day, so that at the end of the day, when I'm just hanging out with the kids, I'm totally with them and I can feel good about, the stuff that I accomplished for the day. So.
Yeah, I think it's really important because lots of times we talk to moms that are, and really anyone that's kind of divided between priorities. So maybe it's a full-time job that you have to keep up with, and that's, feeding your family. So it's a pretty important priority. Or maybe it's, kids and family, maybe it's both. But no matter where we are, we feel like we should be somewhere else. We feel like we're always torn, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So what do you do to kind of take some of that away and really allow that relaxation? Like you guys still, you travel, you have your date nights, you and your husband, like you seem to have a really good balance. Of course, outside looking in, everything always looks, grass is green.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's not perfect.
Yes.
But you seem to have a good handle on prioritizing those things. So what do you do in order to make that happen?
Okay, well, definitely. Well, one thing before I is like I really do try to get some extra time first thing in the morning. Like for me, that's been a game changer. I used to go to bed like 2 or 3 hours after the kids, or even a few hours after the kids. But then if I wake up and I'm kind of grouchy, and then I'm annoyed with them because then they're distracting me from my work, well then that doesn't really help my work in the end. So that's one thing that I guess I would also say, that's not really a systems thing, but if if everyone can kind of look at their day and see where they can actually make time and actually like undistracted time, that honestly is such a big deal. And if you can fit that in early in the morning, you can get, I would say, even 3 times more as much done when you do that. And then using the tools at that time has really helped. So aside from that, I do use the technology that's available to us now, and so I feel really really grateful and lucky, right? Because what I do find is, with real estate investing, there is a lot of, it's a very active role, for sure. You get, it's passive income in a sense because it's still making money as you sleep, but it's active in managing the properties. And I guess it depends on who you are. If you're more of a passive investor, you can go with a JV partner. You can do private lending. That makes it a lot better. But if you are one of the ones that actually managing your properties, you do need a system to take care of it, because after a certain point, a spreadsheet just isn't enough. Word documents isn't enough.
Yeah, for sure. I thought I'm reading this book for the 4th time, so I'm not sure if you've read this one, but Atomic Habits by James Clear. And when I read this part last week, I thought about you, because there's a part in this that says prevailing wisdom claims that the best way to achieve what we want in life, whether it's getting into better shape or building a successful business, whatever it might be, is to set specific and actionable goals, which, right? It's true.
Yes.
Now, for many years, this is how I approached my habits too. However, and he talks a little bit more, but eventually I began to realize that my results had very little to do with the goals that I set, and nearly everything to do with the systems that I followed. And he talks about how our systems move us toward our goals. It says, if you completely ignored your goals and focused only on your systems, would you still succeed? For example, if you were a basketball coach and you ignored your goal to win a championship and focused only on what your team does at practice each and every day, would you still get results? So his theory is that a lot of us spend a lot of time on goals, which is important. However, problems arise when you spend too much time thinking about your goals and not enough time designing your systems. So you have spent a considerable amount of time designing systems for yourself, have you not?
I have. And it's for those reasons. And the funny thing is I'm actually reading that book myself, and I love it, because I think, when you look at really successful people, it's what are the daily things you're doing towards that goal, and not so much, okay, are we there yet? Are we there yet? No, it's today, did I get that thing done? Did I make those calls that I have to do, right? But how do you keep track of all of that? So that's exactly it, right? So I guess one of the ways or one of the things I've really spent more time doing now is using like a project management tool. And I know there's a lot up there, and they're all, I think, really good. The one I currently use is ClickUp. I like it because, it's just ClickUp, just the way it sounds in one word. And I really like it because the free version has a lot of features. I like the aesthetic of it, but it also has a lot of the things. Like you could even do Gantt charts with it. It connects to your calendar. But as you get really busy with either, your family life and then together with your work life and then and real estate, and then, anything else you do outside of that, whether you do things with your church or whatever, like you need a way to organize that. And when you feel overwhelmed, then you end up doing nothing, or you
Yes,
end up doing the things that aren't as important. They may
because
be
they're
urgent,
easier.
but not important. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Um, yeah. So I think that's really helped because I feel like when I can organize that in a way, um, you have to organize it before you put it in there. And when you have an organized mind, you're also more productive. So one of the things that, what I use it for is I kind of have it organized as my operations for my real estate. So I have like operations. So in there, I've got like uh, bookkeeping, like a finance folder. Then I've got like um, maintenance, um, projects. So sometimes, if we're as investors, we do rental projects or whatever, you can have a list specifically for a certain project, which I think really helps too, which separates it out from the other operations, like the daily stuff. And then it's also a really good tool to be able to manage your team. So I have contractors that work for me just on a regular basis for my bookkeeping, for my leasing activities, and so it's a really good way for us to stay connected. On you can have it separated by property, and then anytime any comment is related to that particular property, you know you'll know exactly what it is, and you can message back and forth. And what's great is you can attach files to it too. And that's really helpful if you've got estimates for a project, or um, you know I don't necessarily put my leases in there, but any documents related to something that will help. Like I've been finding that really, really good. um,
So does it work like a portal?
um, I'm gonna say no. I guess I'm gonna ask what you mean by portal, but I don't think so. Like basically it's you you go into it, you see a nice screen, you've got a dashboard or whichever view that you want. And then you share whichever folder you want to share with your team members, or then they get access to that same view. Um, and I guess I'm going to say that's the overall organization tool that helps organize the different pieces. Later on, I can talk about another key app that I use. But even within that, it helps me organize my daily things. So one of the things that I try to do is try to not kind of clog up my calendar anymore with lots of tasks.
Mm.
Calendars are really helpful in getting appointments in there, but then when you feel overwhelmed by getting a tons of things in there, you just almost like yikes, right? You don't even want to look at your calendar. And so if you use your calendar in conjunction with a project management tool where okay, I've set aside time to work on my current projects, or I've set up some time to look at my next actions list, then you can go to ClickUp, and then that way it works in conjunction without needing to feel like it's just too much.
Okay. So what are some other similar programs out there? Like I think Michael Conrad is using Monday, I think, .com. Corey had looked at that one as well. We use Trello. We also use Airtable. It's kind of,
Sorry, Tiffany, I can't hear you. Could you repeat that again? I think you were cutting out.
oh, sorry. Yeah. So just wondering what other programs are similar to that one for
Oh,
productivity. Is it
similar
like
to
a
like yeah.
Trello? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like a Trello, it's like an Asana, it's like Rike. So I think really when somebody's trying to determine which project management tool they want to use, they should probably just take a look at, there are um, websites out there that actually compare the different apps, and some of them have different features, and it depends. Like for most of us, you kind of want to see what can be included in the free version, right? And then you also, maybe certain things about the look of it bothers you. So I mean, that might sound silly, but you got to look at it every day, and you
Yeah.
should be able to customize it. And I know ClickUp has been extremely flexible. Um, I mean, so many things. I mean, you can do your subtasks, you can do dependencies. So if you were actually managing a project. So I'm in the midst of a development project right now. It's still in with the city, but I've created, I guess, a page for my development project, and then you can create dependencies. And so if there's a delay in a certain step, it'll move the other ones out further as well.
Oh, nice.
And then you can
Oh, nice.
see it in and you can see it in a
So,
Gantt chart view or calendar view. Sorry.
mhm. Oh, I love that. I love when you can change it into from like an Excel kind of view to a calendar view. That really helps.
Mm-hmm.
So basically some sort of project management software, because as investors we have renovations going on. We have, maybe our project is to release a property. Maybe our project is to buy a property. Maybe our project is to refinance a project. But some sort of project management software is what you use and recommend as the number one thing to start with. What's another system that you use that you think most investors would use? I asked you for top 3 ahead of time. So what's your second
Right.
most favorite?
I think I use Buildium a lot. Can I just say one more thing? But what you could use ClickUp for as well, or like any project, is that as investors too, we have a lot of contacts, right? We talk to investors that are interested in talking to you. You've got fellow investors, you've got the real estate professionals. It's also a really good way to track your contacts, because you never want to feel like, oops, I forgot who that person is, or when did we last talk? And so it just really allows you to kind of get all of that in one place.
So it's a CRM as well.
Yeah,
CRM
you
of
could use it
sorts.
as a sort of CRM.
Nice.
And yeah, so Buildium is like a tool I use a lot. So that's a property management tool. What I love about it is it's just, where before when I used to create spreadsheets that tracked all of my leases, this one, it's just a lot more user friendly, and everything is updated. So whenever you get a new lease, you enter the lease details, all the contact information is on there, and then every month it'll already tell you, because you're gonna set up a charge, and every month it'll show, even a few days before if you wanted it to, what you're expected to receive. And so whenever you get those rents, it's always nice to have something that says, okay, yes, you've accepted that. You can check it with your bank statements, and you can tell right away if all of the numbers have come in or not. And
Yeah.
that,
So
as
it's
a landlord,
basically,
is really important.
yeah, it tracks your rent for you, right? It tracks whether or not everything has worked out just fine, and whether or not you need to be doing some collections or contacting of people. And how does it help you in maintenance? I've heard that the maintenance features are really nice on it.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a section. So what's great is, like, on the front page, it's kind of got your key indicators for your business, and one of them is the leasing. So when the rents come in, then you can track on what's missing, what's left to collect. On the maintenance side, there's tasks, and then there's also like work orders. So what's nice is when a task comes in, and that could be something that either us as a user puts in, or even one of your tenants. So there's a tenant portal that you invite your tenants to. That makes them feel, I think it's nice because it makes them feel like they can reach you, and everything's a bit more systematized. And I always say, like, please use this tool, because that helps us track your requests, make sure that we can follow up on anything that's been put out there. The worst is for tenants to think, oh, they just forgot about it or whatever. So you can see, okay, who did I assign it to? Who did I assign it to? Where is it in the process? Like, you can update each task for, okay, it's now been assigned to somebody else, or they're coming on Sunday. So without having to pick up the phone and talk to your maintenance person, or your contractor, you can actually check it on there.
Yeah, that's really nice. So if for example, like right now, I'm waiting to hear back from a painter to let me know whether or not they went in yesterday and today, and it should be done today. But quite frankly, I don't want to always be bugging them, and I got really busy and didn't text them yesterday and say, hey, did you get in there? I mean, I worked with them for a long time, and they're usually really reliable, so I don't really have to do that. But really what you're saying is that when they start the project, they can say, okay, painting started. And then that's said, and you don't have to worry about that. You're not hearing me, are you?
Yeah, I think you were cutting off and I heard parts of it. Sorry, I do think it might be your internet connection, but
Really? Is everyone else hearing me okay? Let me know if not, because I can certainly switch it. But so yeah, I've heard that Buildium is really good property management. Now, at what point do you think you need to switch to that? Like if you have 3 properties, is it worth it?
I think so. I made the move over when I had 7 and maybe 15 doors. And I felt like that was a good time to do it because what happens is when you grow beyond that, or if you grow kind of exponentially, then it takes a lot more time to then start with a property management tool later on when you have a lot to upload because um, you really have to make sure too that everything's set up properly from the start. The only thing that I would caution anybody starting with it is that the setup has to be done right. And if you are working with a bookkeeper, that you actually work together with them to get it set up because you have to make sure like the bank accounts are set up and you want to make sure that the properties are tying in because uh, then everything just flows from there. To correct things after the fact takes a long time. I mean, that's something that I had to do. There was something at the beginning that I didn't do quite right. And then it's taken some time to clean up. But as a tool, as you said, like when do you do it? Like I kind of feel like when you're at that point when you're actually losing track of when leases are due, or you're starting to lose track of when certain tasks or maintenance work orders are supposed to be done. That's when you probably need another tool to help you out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
And
yeah.
I've heard it said too that, like once, if you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 properties, that kind of thing, once you start getting into that 5, 6, 7 properties, and I know for us that did prove true, that's when we stopped being able to kind of just, remember everything. But certainly if you plan to get to that, 7, 8, 10 and beyond properties, that's your plan, then certainly like everything else, if you start your foundation right
Yeah.
and you start it off that way, can you give us an idea of what the costs are for that?
I believe it starts at like $50 US. I feel like when I started, it wasn't quite that much. I feel like when I started, it was more like in the 30 something US. So yeah, there's definitely that cost benefit to it. So you'll have to see for yourself where you think that that's worth it to you. But when you think about if you're ever missing an end of the lease and then you end up leasing a property out with just 1 month out or right on that month, then that monthly cost really isn't much because it means you're on top. You knew the lease was coming up 2 or 3 months ahead of time. You've already contacted them. The program lets you do lease renewal offers automatically. So you set there is like an email template that you could create yourself custom, or I think they might even have one there. Then you set what the terms are. Then they send an email out that goes directly to them with their name and the lease terms. And then you can actually update that on there so that way, even that is automated. So you're not, what that helps with is you're not going back and forth into your email. It actually is all right there. You can look at your dashboard. You can say, oh, I've got 5 lease renewals coming up. I've already offered on 3. I've got 2 more that I need to send out.
Gotcha. Nice. Yeah, I love dashboards. So dashboards are kind of just like a visual, right? Where it kind of gives
Yeah.
a summary of everything that's going on. And then it visually says, maybe it's a graph or a chart or just like you said, 5 leases coming up, 3 you have offers out on, 2 you need to send, 1 is re-signed, whatever it might be. So always so helpful to have those, kind of cues because as you get busier as investors, guys, you're going to start losing track. Hopefully that happens because if you do, that means that you're progressing and you're rolling along.
Exactly. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think, when you are scaling, and you are starting to look at other things that are helping, it's a good sign. So, the thing with these tools, another thing I would have to say is you do have to spend the time to get to know them though, right? Like I've made a bit of a mistake in the past where if you try to use a new tool that's going to help you, but if you actually don't understand it enough, that will also come back to haunt you. So in terms of like say building, make sure you kind of take the time, or if you're using a bookkeeper, you should make sure that they take the time to understand the system. So whichever bookkeeper you're using, they should be good with the tool as well.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah,
really important, like you said, that the bookkeeper be able to integrate with whatever property management software you're using, or at least the reports that come out of it, that they have the proper reporting that the accountants or the bookkeepers will need. So, okay, so that's awesome. So we've got a project management tool. Now we've got ClickUp, Trello, Asana, Monday, that project management tool. Now we have a property management tool, helps you handle your leases, your maintenance requests, just staying on top of anything building wise. What about stuff like, this is one thing I still keep in my phone, is paint chip colors. And we systemize
right,
and normalize most of
yeah,
our property, but some of them still, especially when we were buying really fast, they
right,
came in pretty good shape. We just kept it. So how does Buildium help you with that kind of, or parking stall numbers or
right.
mailbox numbers? Where's the mailbox? Which one is it?
I know, right? And I think as we all move towards the digital age, we're having less folders where we put those samples in or those papers. So yeah, it does because, if you're, I always put, when I can, I'll put the appliance model numbers in there. I'll also put mailbox numbers, like you said. Um, Inspection reports go right there. The leases go right in there. So any document related to that lease or that property, you can easily pull up. So that's
Nice.
why I find it extremely helpful to get organized, because then you're not feeling like, okay, it's on my drive, but then it's not shareable. So it really depends on how you're set up as a business. Like, as you grow, you're going to be working with other people that are helping you in your business. And so you want to be able to have a way that it's an online system that gets always updated and for other people to access as well. Um, the worst thing would be to send them something that's like, say, out of date. It was an old lease, or and really you just want to be able to say, like, if somebody asks you a question about the lease, you can call it up easily and you say, oh, actually utilities is this, or yeah, you paid this much for deposit, and it's really easily there. And with the tenant portal too, it allows them to have easy access to key documents that are important to them.
So you're not getting people calling you and saying, hey, do you have a copy of my lease? I lost it. Or do you have my inspect? Because they can just log in and it's all sitting in there for them.
It is. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then aside from that too, I really do like if you can train your tenants to use it. It's just one place for everything to flow through. I think as landlords too, sometimes you get emails, sometimes you get texts, and sometimes, like it goes to your leasing agent. So it's just one way for it to flow. And then from there, you can delegate inside there. Yeah.
Nice. I like Tammy. She says, yeah, it's better than iPhone notes, right? I
There's a
use,
place that,
yeah, there is.
yeah, I was just gonna say, I will say that there is a place for notes, and I'll actually mention that later too. But agreed, like for property related things, so important. And I think I might have even mentioned it before, but this app has like a mobile version. So
Nice.
yeah, you can access all of these things as you go. So not just when you have to come back to your desk and then you're processing invoices or whatever. You could actually just check on everything when you're out. And that's what's part of being like the investor lifestyle. I think a lot of us are attracted to, right? Like we don't want our life to stop because we have to be in the office. I enjoy sitting here and doing stuff, but hey, I also, if I'm out doing something because it, with a friend or with a family, I know that I can still take care of business wherever I am.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. And I want to just take a couple of things that you mentioned and give examples of why it's important. Okay. So, for example, you mentioned putting appliance model numbers in.
Yeah.
And it's so, it's something that I learned way too late. Like if I had just done this stuff in the beginning, I learned that way too late. So now, for example, our appliance guys, they used to have to, we had an issue. They'd go over to the property, take a peek at it. That would cost us $120. They would look at it and say, oh, it's the element. Well, they don't carry an element for every stove. So that now they have to leave, they go back, they get it, they come back. Well, there's another $120 plus the part. So now I have a $240 bill. That was back then. Now, because we keep the model numbers of our stuff, because we can say to a tenant, send me a picture or a video or a really detailed, explanation of what's going on. We call the appliance company. They say, it sounds like it's the element. I say, perfect. Here's the model number. They take one with them in case it's the element. And I would say 9 times out of 10, they have a good idea on the phone. Now my bill is $120 plus the part, not $240, because they didn't have to leave and come back. So little things, but they make a big difference. That's, $120 out of your cash flow that year. So, and if you do that, a few times per property, that can really, really add up. So, another thing you mentioned was having the leases in. So, in some provinces, it's, law that you have to provide a copy of your lease. Now, I had at one time, all of our properties were it was in a property management software called PropertyWare. It's similar to Buildium, it sounds like, but Buildium sounds like it's better. So we had ours in PropertyWare, and I was at the RTDRS with a tenant, and they're like, well, we didn't get that. Well, they didn't give it to us. Well, we didn't have that, and so it was nice to be able to say, well, you do have, you've logged into the portal before, right? I don't know. Oh, that's where you send me, if you're going to be late with rent, or if you needed, oh, that, yes, of course. Okay, well, they're in there. Oh, right. And so, it's just easy. There's no complications. It's like, oh yeah, that's where they were. Okay. No arguments. There's not much that they can say. Yeah. Someone's asking, can you track tenant birthdays in Buildium?
I don't believe so. I think there's places for notes, but for a place for you to actually say pull it up, or for it to come out and give you a notification, I don't believe so. But I think that's great though, right? Like, I mean, you're thinking in terms of customer service and being able to recognize them on those days.
Or even their dogs' names or their kids' names, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, like I think what you can put, there's definitely places for you to put notes like that. You may not get notifications for them, but then it's easier for you to recall.
Yeah. And I love this. Like Joe says here, like, there's your $50 that you've paid for just by saving, the extra trips from the appliance people, or, the paint chip numbers. Your painter doesn't have to go there, take a sample of it and then leave. Everything goes down when you've been organized. I see Tammy saying, Brian, great idea, but I didn't see Brian's comment here. Darn it. Anyways, unless Brian's maybe the birthday. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna guess. Hey, Brian. Okay, so property management, project management. What else do you have that helps you in your business, systems or software wise?
Something I've been using a lot more now than I did before is a note app. Tammy was saying the note on the phone, but I have been really using OneNote a lot more, because this is how I think about things. It's kind of like there's only 3 places that you should really put things. Either it should be on the calendar, because it's either an appointment or a date specific task, or it should be on your project management tool like a ClickUp, because it's a to-do, or it's a reference material. And I think if other investors are like me, and we're all like, we love real estate, we love self-development, we go on a whole bunch of different, like, we love it, like something similar to, your Tactical Tuesdays, and we take notes, right? And, for all these different places, and in the past, you might create a Word document and you save it and you name it. Now it's so much easier to actually use these really high-powered note apps like OneNote. That's with Microsoft. There's Evernote. I hear is another really good one. But
Yeah.
it allows you to then have a folder system that's online, and then for you to organize your notes for this stuff. If it's more like a reference material, if it's not like a task and it's not something that belongs in a calendar, well, then it's general information, but it's important information as well, right? Then using that has really been also a game saver, like a game changer for me, because now I have like a whole bunch of different folders depending on what it is. It could be self-development, it could be real estate, could be coaching. But then within that, we'll say within coaching, I mean, everybody has different people that they follow. Well, then you can put it in different subfolders. And so I think really what that means is at the end of the day, I only have 3 or 4 main tools that I go to get the information I need, instead of having to say, oh, wait, but some of that is on my file folder over there. And then I've got to check my drive, my computer drive here. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
these
I will
notes,
say that's the story of my life, Carlene.
yeah,
If I
yeah,
didn't have Nan and if I didn't have Corey, honestly, that is the story of my life. It's a good thing that they're both good at systems. But
yeah,
I loved what you said. Okay, you said, and I love this. So Adele had mentioned a few minutes ago, she said, for me, it's garbage in, garbage out. And I remember that being a productivity tool where it's like, hey, if something's in, something else has to go out. Like there's got to be, this flow. You said something about there's one of 3 places that any piece of information needs to go. One you said was if it's a to-do, it goes in your project management software. If it's time related, it's an appointment, it goes in your calendar. Or 3, it's reference. So is that what you find, that most of what you have is one out of, it always goes down to those 3 things?
I think so. Like if you really start thinking about it, and I would say that in the past I didn't think about it that way, but as I'm starting to systematize and really kind of actually get rid of clutter and start just going digital more and more, then you think about where it has to go. And so I don't know, I'm trying to think of what it could be. I don't know, it could be, like a proper, like, mortgage statements, or that's a reference material, and you can add those as attachments if you want. And so I guess at the end, you can also think about whether how comfortable you feel with that. Like, and some people prefer that they have a drive at home. So I guess, there's definitely pros and cons to any sort of application out there. But if you do feel comfortable with it, well, then it is one place.
Nice.
And I
Yeah.
think more people, yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Cause then you don't have to think. For me, I'm like, okay, wait, where is that now? Is it here? No, it's there. No, it's here. Where is that? And I'm just terrible for that. So it's awesome. You're right. If there's one of 3 places that it's going to be, and you have a quick reference, like, okay, is it reference? Is it time related? Or is it, that's where it's going to be? Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So, so what one would you start with if you were, an investor starting out? It's too much to do all of it. We know that.
Yeah.
Which one would you start with as a starting point?
Um, I would start with, I think at a minimum, I would probably start with OneNote,
Okay.
because no matter what, there's always information. And then I would do a project management tool. And then if your business calls for it, use a property management tool.
Okay. So baby
Yeah, I would,
steps.
yeah. And then that way as you do it, then you get organized with the first tool, and that organization, even in your mind, is going to help you set it up in the second tool and then in the third tool. And not to say you can't do any one at the same time. I think it really depends on your need and where you kind of see yourself getting stuck or whatever. But I kind of feel like when you have a system to how you tackle the things you have to do, it really helps. It really helps to then organize your day. So I see Elaine's question too. So I should do.
Yeah. So So we can move on to that now if you want, or you can finish what you were on to
Okay.
before.
I was just going to say a way that I tackle my day is I start my day with both my calendar and the project management tool. So the calendar to know for sure what things I have to be there for in terms of the time. But then there's a whole bunch of other sometimes openings. But without clogging it up, then I'll use my ClickUp. And then I'll look at, okay, what are my daily tasks versus my um, actionable steps for certain projects. And so when you can define them that way, it helps you take that next step. When you have to write it down as a task item, it means you're clear about what your next step has to be. Because a lot of investors, and whether it's with real estate or anything else, when you're stuck in something, it's because you either need to ask a question or you need to just, does a question have to be asked? Is there something that's stopping you from taking that next step?
Yeah, for sure. And it's true that all of these things, half of what they do is just force us to organize things in our brains. And when we're
Yeah.
organized in our brain, like you said, we can be more organized otherwise. Yeah. So awesome. Okay. So which bookkeeping system do you use?
I currently do use Buildium as my together with my along with property management. That
Okay.
software does allow you actually to do everything there. But that being said, it isn't like a true book. It'll let you do all the tasks or all the things that you need to do for bookkeeping, for reconciling your bank accounts, all of that. But the only thing I would say is it is a bit more manual. Obviously, I think it sounds like QuickBooks Online has been a big winner, really, with a lot of features and some automation, some, auto upload type of functionality that I think would be really helpful in bookkeeping. But you can use Buildium or you can use it in conjunction with like a bookkeeping software like QuickBooks Online. That would be my next one if I were to make a change.
Make a change. Yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
think I don't know this. Maybe someone else out there knows. I know Raimi and Daphne use Buildium as well, but I think that Buildium probably integrates with QuickBooks because a lot of that stuff usually does. Then it will send out, the reports that whatever in QuickBook format. But I will just say one thing is the downloading of the automatic bank statements and stuff, that's overrated. Like even my bookkeeper, she's
Yeah.
like, no, I'll never do that. I'm like, okay, good.
Uh,
Because every time we've ever done it, it's just been a disaster. So
Interesting.
yeah, I totally just get rid of that. Okay, OneNote versus Evernote. If anyone knows the
Yeah.
differences, let's help Adele do some research. Do you know any of them?
I had heard that Evernote is a lot better if you're needing to save a lot of web material, like
Mm-hmm.
information that's online on web. The links and the images go in way better. That's what I heard has been good about Evernote.
Yeah,
But I
Evernote to me,
really, yeah,
really good. You could add collaborators all over the place and yeah, attachments, pictures, screen snaps, like all kinds of stuff super easily. But I've never used OneNote, so I only know that side of things. So
yeah.
Tammy
And you
says,
can.
do you like iPhones? Mac users? Are you open to changing? Just wait. As an iPhone user, open to change. What device computer do you like?
I mean, I personally I use like I just use a desktop and I use an iPhone. So it,
Yeah.
that's been working for me. I mean, I wouldn't even say I'm not a very I'm not a techie, but I really do appreciate how technology can help me. So I would say, yeah, like I don't need the latest and the newest of what's out there, but I look for the things that will really help my business. So hope that helps. Oh, I don't know if Tiffany's frozen. Seems that she is. I don't know if anybody else is online. I can't really see, but I could. Oh, there you go.
There, I'm back.
There.
Sorry. Yeah, it just both like we just fell off. I'm like, oh no. So how do you manage receipts?
Right now, I would have to say right now, I am not using Receipt Bank like I actually wanted to. That was one of the things I actually was looking into for quite a while. And the reason why I held off was because I was going to use QuickBooks Online. And QuickBooks Online does have a receipt functionality. And so me delaying that decision has also delayed me in this, but I also know that I can easily pick one up. I did try using Wave Receipts, but I found that app, when it's the free version, is slow. So when you're looking for one of the apps, you also want to know how fast can you actually like upload these documents, because when I tried Wave, it was like I uploaded it, I would put in like a restaurant receipt, and then 2 hours later it finally gets uploaded. But you want to be able to upload it and add your notes to your receipt, so it's not very useful when it takes that long.
Okay, good to know. So, and Andrea is saying she loves QuickBooks Online for receipts. I've heard that it is very similar. We don't use QuickBooks Online ourselves, like our bookkeeper does, but we don't use it ourselves anymore. But we use Smart Receipts. It's called Smart Receipts. So if anyone else has any, so here, Adele, Mike uses OneNote. So there you go. You can talk to Mike and see. But yeah, if anyone else uses anything else that works for you, let us know. But ours is Smart Receipts, and we've been using it for years and years. You take a picture of the receipt. It then says, how much was it? What's the tax on it? How do you want it categorized? And then at the end of the month, it prints off, you just actually we email it off to our bookkeeper. And so she has a picture of all the receipts and exactly where we want it categorized. So yeah, it works beautifully, that one.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions?
Sorry, I was going to say it's good that they asked that, because I think that's the next thing I should really get back to. I had put it on hold, and now I'm like, yeah, that's so important.
Yeah, it really is. It's super handy, that one. Especially if you're doing a lot of like renovations and stuff yourself, where you're like picking up stuff, little things here and there, man, you can have a whole lot of paper for sure. So it's funny that you said, oh, I need to start getting organized, because, your organization is a whole, like your non-organization, as you're saying, is like worlds ahead of most of us. So that's why I wanted to have you on, because you've got so much more going, and yet you're still looking to improve and refine and, get better at. But man, it sounds like what you've got going on is pretty awesome. So another Elaine question, do you use virtual assistants?
So I do. So basically, I have a lady that's doing she actually happens to be in the same city, but she is a virtual assistant, because we don't, she doesn't come into my house, into my office to do any of the work. Everything is online. And so she is a virtual assistant. Right now, she's more helping me with bookkeeping, but it's in our plans to have her work on some of my more marketing and, touch points and my property marketing material. So yes, and I would recommend that too, because, really after a while, you'll know when you need extra help is when you just feel like you can't keep up.
Yeah.
Or you're spending more time out of your family time or whatever time that is also important to you outside of real estate, that's taking up time from there. So that's when, those virtual assistants are super, super helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, and there's lots of Facebook groups that are specifically for virtual assistants. And if you go in there and type in, specific to real estate investments, or have experience in real estate investing, assisting, that sort of thing, then you'll find a whole lot of people in those groups. So it's pretty cool.
Good. That's good to know. I know, like I didn't go that route. I ended up advertising on Kijiji.
Okay.
And then what's nice is you can be really specific. And I guess I would say when you're looking for somebody to help you out, like a VA, then you should be really specific about which tools you want them to be good at, right? Because they all have different specialties. And you don't really necessarily want to hire a VA where you then have to teach them a tool. Like I don't want to hire a VA where then I have to teach them ClickUp or unless you plan for it at least, and then that that's part of the job.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I'm just going to
Yeah.
go through these again. Number 1 is a project management software. Number 2 is a property management software. The one, and then number 3 is a notes software. So something that can integrate with your phone and your computer and your tablet, anything that you can share, collaborate with, add other
Yeah.
people to it, those kinds of things. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what the tool is, but the point of today's training is that often we get to the point, if we're going to run this as a business, if we're going to have a balanced investor life and still be able to travel, be a mom to 3 kids, golf, have date nights with our husbands, all that kind of stuff, we're going to have to start systemizing some things. And so, what you use, the tools that you choose to use, project management, there's quite a few different ones. Buildium, I think, is probably everyone's favorite, really, for property management that's out there right now. But whatever you choose to use something. Talk to other investors and find out what they're doing, but don't rely on your brain, because for one, we can't always keep up. But for 2, things happen. And sometimes we might not be there to answer all those questions. And it would really be helpful for our family, for our joint venture partners. Actually, let's talk about that. If we're organized and that information is somewhere. So Carlene, as a working partner in joint venture relationships, how do these things help you when talking to your joint venture partners?
Well, it's real. I definitely like any software that I feel like I can report on. Like I want to be able to answer any question at any point in time without having to say, oh, my booking's not done. I'll have to get back to you later. Like if they're actually done on a monthly basis, anything related to how the property is doing, I can check to see, did I forecast properly with the utilities I ended up charging? Or, what was the maintenance expense that I ended up spending this month versus what I'd like to allocate? Things like that is really important to me. So in terms of that,
Oh, we just lost Carlene. Huh. Funny how it was me first, but anyways, so guys, we'll wrap it up anyways. That's okay. Thanks so much, Carlene, for coming on. We appreciate all your systems and you being willing to share them with us. Get some systems, guys. It's important. This isn't a hobby. This is a business. We have to treat it like one. And that includes having those kinds of systems in place. And some things are going to work for others better, but, go do the tutorials, go on, do their free webinars, whatever, go on YouTube, but look for some systems that you can put in place. And whatever is stressing you out the most, I would start with that one. So thanks, guys. Lots of love for you here, Carlene. So unfortunately, you jumped off. But anyways, we'll see you guys soon. Next week, we are having another Ignited Takeover. So Ignited Takeover next Tuesday. You're going to be talking to people that are in the trenches. What are they doing? We'll have 4 or 5 panelists. So we're going to do that on a regular basis. It was such a hit. So we're going to be doing that all over again. So, and don't forget about bootcamp. If you guys are looking to scale and you want to start, into a program that kind of gets your first 4 steps down pat of your joint venture journey, raising capital, RSPs, whatever it is that you're doing, join us, $27. So join us on July 9th and 10th. And thank you, guys. We shall see you next week. Have a great week, guys. And Ignited, we'll see you over on Laser. Cheers, everyone.